Dr. M. Rajivan, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. Vipin Chandra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Srimati Sumita Sarkar, Dr. M. Mohapatra, Dr. E. Rajgopal, all other senior scientists, all the distinguished former secretaries of the Ministry of Earth Sciences who have joined us through the web, other employees of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, media friends, and our very special guest today, to whom we have to express our gratitude also for joining us and also for delivering the keynote address today in spite of COVID. Dr. Margaret Leinen, Director Scripps Institution of Oceanography and Vice Chancellor for Marine Sciences, United States, San Diego. Dr. Margaret, we are extremely grateful to you. I feel sorry that we can't meet. I can't even see you right now, but I know that you have joined us today. So we are extremely grateful and we really feel privileged. Of course, all my dear media friends are also here. Thanks all of you for being with us today in this function, which has been organized in an entirely different way. I think it's the new normal for the society, for institutions, for the academia, and maybe in the long run it might prove to be some sort of a blessing for us. We can probably, with less resources, minimum input, we can have maximum output. A lot of people can join us without having to bother for travels and leaves and so many other things. So it's this way of communication was available to us earlier also, but COVID probably reminded us that this could also be another better normal for the society. So my dear friends, the Ministry of Earth Sciences Foundation Day is indeed a great occasion, and I am honored to be here with all of you to celebrate our 14th anniversary. As we all know, our Ministry of Earth Sciences was formed in 2006 by a merger of the Indian Meteorological Department, the National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, the Earth Risk Evaluation Center, and the Ministry of Ocean Development. Friends, the earth science is a combination science that draws upon all other sciences to unlock Earth's mysteries. It is unique and yet interdependent. Earth science empowers us to think globally and act locally, to make sound decisions about issues important in our lives as individuals and also as citizens. People who understand how earth systems work can make informed decisions. They can debate and resolve issues surrounding clean water, urban planning and development, national security, global climate change, and the use and management of natural resources. In the 21st century, we need to be informed citizens, and earth science takes us exactly there. It serves to connect us all to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically. Which is why I always say that the earth science skills become life skills, and therefore the earth sciences ministry can easily be seen as the life skills ministry. In fact, the study of all earth sciences is a humbling and character building exercise and an experience. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the earth, the only home we have ever known. In terms of contemporary impact, one of the most important areas of earth science is the study of climate change, the slow warming of the earth, the accompanying effect on biodiversity, and humankind's part in it, which must be addressed to protect the planet we all live on. Climate change resulting from over exploitation of Mother Earth can no longer be denied. It can't be edited out. It can't be omitted from the conversation, which is what the planet is facing today. Not just because I am the health minister of the country, but because I am a responsible citizen of the world. I am compelled to admit that the present COVID-19 pandemic that has destroyed millions of families and wrecked the global economy is nothing but a result of the havoc that mankind has unleashed on nature and on Mother Earth over the last few centuries. Those who understand the way nature plays out and understand earth science know well what I am talking about. Our lives and civilization depend upon how we understand and manage our planet. Earth processes affect us all. Weather patterns influence the availability of water resources and the potential for forest fires. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and floods can kill large numbers of people and cause millions or even billions of dollars in property damage. Just as earth systems directly affect each of us, we as individuals, communities, and nations affect our planet. Expanding technologies and growing populations increase demand on natural resources. As we extract and use these resources, we impact Earth today, which will in turn impact those who come after us. To enhance our stewardship of the environment, we must proceed into the future with a sound understanding of earth systems. This ministry, the Ministry of Earth Sciences, is a unique organization in the world which looks holistically at all branches of earth science: atmosphere, hydrosphere, cryosphere, and lithosphere. India is the only country with a fully dedicated ministry solely addressing all the aspects of earth sciences. This helps in developing an integrated approach in planning and resolving major concerns in a holistic manner with least time delay. The ministry has attained many significant achievements in the recent past, which are considered to be of global standard for other countries to follow. On weather and climate sciences, India has one of the best weather services in the world for disaster management with accurate warnings on tropical cyclones, heat waves, and floods. The IMD provides tropical cyclones and storm surge advisories to 13 member countries under the ESCAP panel. India has also developed an Earth system model for future climate projections for the first time. This model capability is at par with other modeling centers in the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, and Germany. Ministry of Earth Sciences has launched an experiment to understand and document merits and demerits of artificial rainmaking, cloud seeding, by conducting experiments with 2 aircrafts in 2 years. This experiment has collected 234 samples of clouds to demonstrate the efficacy of cloud seeding. The kind of large-scale cloud seeding experiments are carried out by very few countries like the United States. On the setting up of atmospheric research test beds, a unique facility in tropics will be launched in 2021 with the first phase of instrumentation. This open field observatory is planned to be spread over 100 acres of land, 50 kilometers away from Bhopal, and is proposed for a better understanding of the monsoon, clouds, and land surface processes. This center will have state-of-the-art observational systems such as radars, wind profilers, UAVs, etc. Very few countries have these kinds of research test beds. We are also proposing the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Internet of Things for data collection, analysis, and developing forecast applications, as well as more automation of observations and data analysis. I know that we are also planning better computing resources, HPC 40 petaflop by next year, for generating global forecasts at 5 kilometers and regional forecasts at 1 kilometer. ECM FW, for example, has gone for 1 kilometer global forecast, even though on research mode. On ocean sciences and technology, INCOIS provides one of the best services in ocean state forecasts and tsunami warnings to 25 countries for the Indian Ocean, with no false alarms till date. NIOT has pioneered the development of indigenous desalination plants for islands using green technology. This system can be transferred to other island countries like the Maldives. Another success story of this ministry lies in deep sea mineral mining. India is one of the very few countries involved in exploration of deep sea minerals. India is the pioneer investor with a contract with the International Seabed Authority. Ministry of Earth Sciences has also been seriously involved in research on deep ocean exploration for the last 30 years. India has been one of the first few countries in developing a deep mining system up to 6,000 meters, which is under testing now. Similarly, the National Institute of Ocean Technology has designed and developed many modules for manned submersibles which can go down to 6,000 meters. This is expected to be completed by 2022. Once completed, India will be the sixth country in the world to have manned submersibles for deep sea exploration after the United States, China, Japan, Russia and France. Ministry of Earth Sciences has one of the best ocean research fleets with 7 ships exclusively used for research purpose. On the seismological services and seismological research, the Deep Borehole Observatory at Karad in Maharashtra is one of the very few such observatories across the world. The 3-kilometer borehole is one of the deepest boreholes in the world. Ministry of Earth Sciences has established one of the best research facilities for geochronology at IUAC New Delhi. This facility would be capable of dating the oldest geological formations in Earth history and providing improved and quantitative understanding of the evolution of the Indian lithosphere. In addition, this facility would help in contemporary cutting-edge research in atmospheric, oceanic and planetary sciences at an international level. Similarly, on polar sciences, the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, NCPOR, Goa is responsible for the country's research activities in the polar and southern ocean realms. We are the best in research in the Himalayas. We need to strengthen research activities in the Arctic and in Antarctica. At present, India is at 25th place in Arctic research and 16th place in Antarctica research. Friends, having elaborated on our success stories, I do simultaneously understand that there are many lacunae that need to be filled up for us to take a giant leap forward. We need huge financial investments, at least twice of the present budget, in augmenting observational networks, replacing old ships, procuring new computing resources, etc. I also understand from my scientist friends here that we also need more trained manpower. Earth sciences is a specialized interdisciplinary subject with expertise from physics, maths, meteorology, chemistry, geosciences, engineering and technology, etc. However, given all the constraints that we have been facing, we have done very well. Today, I take this opportunity to congratulate each and every person who has been associated with this ministry in the past as well as now. It would be an opportune moment for me right now to acknowledge the contributions of late Dr. Sikka, late Dr. Birbal Sahani, Dr. Ravindran, Dr. Sulochana Gadgil, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Dr. P.S. Goyal, Dr. Harsh Gupta, Dr. V.K. Gaud, Professor J. Srinivasan, Dr. Satish Shinoy, and many others who have steered this department and the development of earth sciences in India. I would also like to bring on record the dynamic working of our present Secretary, Dr. M. Rajivan. I would also like to use this occasion to congratulate all the awardees whose names have been announced today and who could not enjoy the privilege of receiving them today. Kudos to all our scientists. We have come a long way and there is much more to be done. I shall end with my favorite verse from Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. Miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. Thank you, my friends.